Hi, Jim Longo here, and I'm going to go through a quick demo of how to set up the Doge application on your system. It's a small TCL web server. It is actually a radio integration server, slightly modified to run on TCL sh84.exe, and some of the libraries have been modified. But basically, it's a radio integration server that I modified to run the, the TSP pages that I'm familiar with. So you take the zip file that I sent you. It's coded to run in C temp. If you need it to run in a different location, that's fine. Just go ahead and let me know where you want to run it, and we can make that modification. So what I do is I just double click the zip file and I just copy that whole folder out. I've already done that because it takes some time, so I wanted to do that ahead of time. So what Doge is an HTTPD TCL web server. And here's the little web server that runs. Here's the library. Here's the bin. And it uses an access database, an internal access database with pre-configured tables that we could use to store information and use it for reporting. And it also passes user input to the backend VB script. This is the developer version, so we're using VB script. The customers get compiled VB script into compiled into executables. So the first thing we need to do is create a DSN. And if you're using a 64-bit, you want to go into 6WOW64. If you're on a 32-bit system, you go into System 32. You double-click your ODBC AD32, and you go to System DSN. You click Add, and here you want to add an Access DSN. If you don't have this selection, you can download the Access DSN installation from the same link where you got Doge from, and you can install it. So what we're going to do is create a DOGE data source. We're going to select that, and it lives at C temp Doge HTTPD bin, and there's your Doge MDB. So we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to go to advanced and click enter admin, and then you can get the password from me. Click OK, and now we can start this application. And here in the bin folder, you can just double click this and start it in DOS mode. So it will open up and say, hey, can I allow you through the firewall, and hit OK. And now we have this server running on 3472, and we can open up. I use Google Chrome because it formats it better than IE or Firefox. So that's just my preferred browser. You could use any browser. And you can access this by going to localhost. I do 127.0.0.1:3472/TSP. If you want to start this when you log into your computer or you start your computer, you can go into this admin section here and open your startup folder. And you can then copy this shortcut doge.exe, which runs in the background, and you can copy that into your startup folder so that when you start your computer with this user, it will automatically okay, so I actually had this running in a different folder, so let's go ahead and recopy it. So now you should be able to access this application using that URL. And one of the really cool things about this is if you have this running on a server and you open up your firewall and do a port forward to this port here, you could access this web page from your cell phone, for instance. And from your cell phone, you can come in here and you could say, okay, I'm accessing this Doge on this web server, and this is a local device. So this is where Doge is running. You can do single device or multi-device. I won't get too much into that, but this uses a text file as input. And this uses a system name where you can enter your system name and your credentials. It uses WMI, so WMI rules apply where you need to have administrative access. And for instance, you can come in here, which I do often, right, at the end of the day from my cell phone when I'm watching TV. I'll say, hey, I forgot to shut down my systems. So I'll come in here and I'll either go system by system, I'll have the multi-device, or I can just shut down this system here by coming into local device and entering the password, which you can get from me if you're interested. So that's how you set up Doge. And once you set it up, you can come in here and kind of explore different areas. Most of it writes to Excel. This database section here is the only section that writes to the internal access database. So you can see, I should have some test data in here already. Right, so I have some test data in here that you can see, what the data looks like. And if you want to collect data on the local device, you can come into database, inventory collection, and come into local device. And so local device runs obviously on the system where Doge is running. So you can access this web page from another system and you run local device. It's going to run this method on the system where the Doge is running. And then you can, once you get a pop-up saying that the collection is complete, you can come into computers and you can see that I'm already collecting information. It's not finished yet. But it will be finished here shortly, and then you can click on that device and you can see it's starting to build the information. It's starting to write to that the internal database, and it takes a few minutes to run, but eventually we will get a pop-up box, and that information will look similar to any of these here where you have all of this system information. It's just like a Radiant Inventory Manager. We're using WMI to collect the information, we're putting that into a database, and we're using the TSP pages as a reporting tool. So that's a quick overview of Doge, how to get it running. And real quick, if you want to go in here and kind of poke around a bit, I program on top of the TCL web server inside of the TSP folder, and here is the VB code. So all of that, all of Doge runs on this VB script. Any of these methods that you're running here has a VB script file, and the HTML is what you're looking at here. So the HTML will build the page here, and then enter your information. For instance, if we wanted to go here, so this is an HTML page, TSP, that you could actually view by going into HTML, and then you can kind of follow the code along to see how it works and eventually build your own methods. So go ahead and give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day.